The morning mist clung to the ancient redwoods as Dr. Olivia Nash made her way through the forest preserve, her boots crunching softly on the fallen leaves. 20 years of botanical research had brought her to this remote corner of the Pacific Northwest, where she studied the intricate relationships between the forest's oldest inhabitants. The preservation zone was restricted, no tourists, no cameras, just pure wilderness and the quiet work of science. Something was different today. The birds had gone silent, and the usual rustling of small animals through the underbrush was absent. Olivia paused, her hand resting on the rough bark of a towering sequoia. The air felt charged, like the moment before a storm. A flash of blue light through the trees caught her attention. It wasn't the natural bioluminescence she sometimes observed in certain fungi, this was something else entirely. Against her better judgment, she moved toward it, her scientific curiosity overwhelming her caution. The light led her to a small clearing she'd never noticed before. There, partially concealed by ferns and moss, lay a sight that made her breath catch, a slender, ethereal figure with silvery skin that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. Beside the figure was a smaller one, clearly a child, huddled close and trembling. The adult, presumably the mother, was injured, a strange opalescent fluid seeping from a wound in her side. Her large, almond-shaped eyes fixed on Olivia with a mixture of fear and desperation. The child whimpered softly, pressing closer to its mother. "I won't hurt you," Olivia said softly, slowly raising her hands to show they were empty. She'd spent years studying communication patterns in primates, now she found herself drawing on that knowledge, keeping her movements slow and non-threatening. The alien mother spoke, her voice like wind through crystal, in a language Olivia couldn't understand. But the meaning was clear, she was protecting her child. The mother tried to rise but collapsed back with a sound of pain. Olivia made a decision. She unslung her research pack and slowly withdrew her first aid kit. "Let me help," she said, knowing the words wouldn't be understood but hoping her tone would convey her intent. She took a careful step forward. The alien child suddenly spoke, and to Olivia's astonishment, the words were in halting English, "Mother, hurt. They follow." Olivia froze. Who follows? But the child just pressed closer to its mother, who was growing visibly weaker. The strange fluid continued to pulse from her wound, and the ethereal glow of her skin was dimming. Drawing on years of handling injured wildlife, Olivia approached slowly, her hands steady as she opened the first aid kit. The mother watched her every move but didn't resist as Olivia examined the wound. It was unlike anything she'd seen before, the edges seemed to shimmer with energy. Using her satellite phone would mean breaking preservation zone protocols and potentially revealing their presence. But as she looked at the frightened child and its fading mother, Olivia knew she couldn't walk away. These beings, whatever they were, needed help. And sometimes protection meant breaking the rules. She pulled out her satellite phone and dialed the one person she knew would help without asking too many questions. "James? It's Olivia. I need your help. And I need you to keep what I'm about to tell you absolutely confidential." As she spoke quietly into the phone, the alien child reached out and touched her arm. Its skin was cool and smooth, and where they made contact, a faint glow pulsed between them. In that moment, Olivia understood that her life's work studying the connections between living things had led her to something far more extraordinary than she could have imagined. The mother's eyes met hers, and though they couldn't share words, an understanding passed between them. Olivia would protect them, whatever it took. As the first drops of rain began to fall through the canopy above, she began planning how to move them to safety before whoever was pursuing them caught up. The forest around them grew darker as storm clouds gathered, and Olivia knew they were running out of time. She had dedicated her life to preserving and protecting Earth's most vulnerable species. Now, faced with refugees from another world, she realized that responsibility extended far beyond her own planet. Thunder rolled in the distance as she helped the alien mother to her feet, supporting her weight while the child gathered close. Together, they began their careful journey through the darkening forest, toward an uncertain future that would challenge everything Olivia thought she knew about life, family, and the true meaning of protection. The rain fell steadily as Olivia guided her unusual companions through the forest to her research cabin. The alien mother's breathing had grown labored, her silvery skin now dulled to a concerning shade of gray. The child, who had introduced itself as Ren, hadn't left its mother's side, small hands constantly touching her arm as if lending strength. James was already waiting at the cabin, his old army medic training evident in the swift, efficient way he assessed the situation without comment. His dark eyes widened briefly at the sight of their otherworldly guests, but he simply nodded and helped Olivia get the mother, who Ren called Astra, onto the examination table. "I've never seen anything like this," James muttered, examining the wound. "It's as if the tissue itself is trying to realign, but something's blocking it." He reached for his medical kit, then hesitated. "Human medicine. I don't know if it'll help or harm." Ren stepped forward, touching the wound gently. "The hunters use energy weapons. They disrupt our healing." The child's English was improving rapidly, as if each word spoken made the next easier to form. "Mother needs darkness to heal. Light hurts now." Olivia quickly dimmed the cabin's lights, leaving only the soft glow of emergency strips. In the near darkness, Astra's wound seemed to pulse with a faint, sickly light of its own. James worked quietly, cleaning the area around the injury while avoiding direct contact with the strange energy emanating from it. "Run," Olivia said softly, "can you tell us more about these hunters? Why are they after you?" The child's large eyes reflected what little light remained in the room. "They want our essence. Our people, we can heal worlds. Make dead things live again. But the hunters, they take our light, use it for weapons." Ren's voice trembled. "Many of our kind are gone now. Mother said Earth was safe. Hidden." Olivia exchanged glances with James. The implications were staggering, beings capable of planetary-scale restoration, hunted for their abilities. She thought of her own research into ecosystem rehabilitation, the years spent trying to heal small patches of damaged forest. What Ren described could transform worlds. Astra stirred, speaking in her crystalline language. Ren translated, "She says we cannot stay long. The hunters have ways of tracking our energy signatures. Even now, they search." James finished bandaging the wound, using a strange, shimmering material Ren had produced from a hidden pocket. "The bleeding stopped, but she needs time to recover. Moving her now would be dangerous." "Then we adapt," Olivia said firmly. "I've spent 20 years studying how species survive in changing environments. We'll find a way to mask their energy signatures." She turned to Ren. "Can you tell me more about how your healing ability works? The scientific principles behind it?" As Ren explained, Olivia's mind raced with possibilities. The child described a process of energy transfer that sounded almost like photosynthesis, but on a quantum level. Their bodies could absorb and redirect energy to stimulate growth and repair in other organisms. But this ability also made them vulnerable to detection. "The forest canopy offers some protection," she mused. "The complex bioelectric fields of the old-growth trees might help mask your presence. And if we could find a way to temporarily dampen your energy output." James nodded slowly. "Like a Faraday cage, but for whatever type of energy they emit." He'd served in enough conflict zones to understand the importance of staying hidden. A sudden noise outside made them all freeze. Through the cabin's window, Olivia caught a glimpse of something moving through the trees, something that didn't belong in any earthly forest. The hunting party had arrived sooner than expected. Astra tried to rise, but James gently held her down. "You'll tear open the wound," he whispered. "Stay still." Olivia moved to the window, her heart pounding. In the distance, strange lights danced between the trees, methodically sweeping the forest. They had minutes, maybe less. "Run," she said quickly, "I need you to tell me everything you know about their tracking technology. Every detail matters now." As the child began to speak, Olivia pulled out her research notebooks. 20 years of studying the forest's hidden patterns had taught her that every living thing had its weaknesses. Even hunters from beyond the stars would have their blind spots. They just had to find them before it was too late. The lights drew closer, and with them came a low humming that made the cabin's windows vibrate. Olivia looked at her unlikely family, a wounded alien mother, her frightened but brave child, and her old friend James, all trusting her to find a way out of this impossible situation. She wouldn't let them down. The forest had been her life's work, her sanctuary. Now it would become their shield, if only she could decode the complex dance of energy and shadow in time. The humming grew stronger as Olivia hastily gathered her research equipment. Years of studying the electromagnetic fields generated by mycorrhizal networks, the vast fungal webs connecting the forest's trees, had left her with a collection of specialized sensors and jammers. They weren't designed for alien technology, but they might buy them time. The hunters use quantum resonance, Wren explained, helping James move Astra to the cabin's basement. They track the harmonic signature of our healing energy. Like finding a specific song in noise. Olivia nodded, her mind racing. Then we'll give them too many songs to track. She pulled out her mapping equipment, designed to monitor the forest's bioelectric communications. The old-growth trees here, they're constantly exchanging energy through their root networks. If we can amplify those signals. A crash from above cut her off. Heavy footsteps moved across the cabin's roof, and a harsh scanning beam pierced through the floorboards. James quickly threw a heavy blanket over Astra, hiding her faint glow. Wren pressed close to Olivia, trembling but silent. The hunters' technology was beyond anything Earth had developed, but Olivia knew something they didn't: the forest was far more complex than it appeared. She'd spent decades documenting how trees communicated through chemical signals and electrical impulses, how they shared resources and warnings through underground networks. "Run," she whispered, "can you connect with the forest's energy? Like you would to heal something?" The child's eyes widened with understanding. Placing a small hand against the earthen wall of the basement, Wren began to glow softly. The effect spread outward, creating a ripple through the underground fungal networks that Olivia had mapped so carefully. Above them, the hunters' scanning beams became erratic. The entire forest was now alive with signals, thousands of trees and millions of fungi all resonating with a hint of alien energy. Finding Astra and Wren in that cascade would be like locating a specific drop of water in a waterfall. But their victory was short-lived. A section of the ceiling burst inward as something large and mechanical tore through the floorboards. James moved instantly, placing himself between the hunters and Astra. Olivia pulled Wren behind a storage cabinet as the first hunter descended. It was a biomechanical nightmare, its form shifting between solid and energy in a way that hurt the eyes. Multiple sensor arrays swept the room, and weapons of unknown design hummed with deadly purpose. Behind it, 2 more hunters dropped into the basement. "The specimens will be collected," the lead hunter announced in a voice like grinding metal. "Resistance is inefficient." "Funny thing about Earth," James said calmly, not moving from his protective stance. "Resistance is kind of our specialty." Olivia caught his subtle hand signal, one they developed during years of wilderness rescue operations. She reached for the basement's electrical panel, where she'd modified the circuits for her research equipment. One overload wouldn't stop the hunters, but it might disorient their sensors long enough. The lead hunter stepped forward, its form rippling. "Your primitive defenses are noted and dismissed. The energy signatures cannot be hidden. The specimens will serve their designated purpose." "They're not specimens," Olivia said, her hand on the panel. "They're people. And they're under our protection." She threw the switch. The surge of electricity combined with Ren's connection to the fungal network created a cascade of bioelectric feedback. The hunters' sensor arrays went wild, their forms destabilizing as conflicting energy signatures overwhelmed their systems. In that moment of chaos, Astra rose from her hiding place, her wound still glowing but her eyes fierce with maternal determination. She raised her hands, and pure healing energy pulsed outward, not as a weapon, but as a wave of life itself. Where it touched the hunters, their biomechanical components began to shift and change. "Mother, no!" Ren cried. "The wound." But Astra didn't stop. The hunters' forms continued to transform as her healing power forced their hybrid nature to choose, machine or living tissue. They couldn't maintain their unstable existence in the face of such pure regenerative energy. The hunters retreated, their bodies shifting erratically as they attempted to maintain cohesion. They burst through the basement walls, disappearing into the forest. But the victory had come at a cost. Astra collapsed, her glow flickering dangerously. "The wounds reopened," James said urgently, catching her before she hit the ground. "And it's worse. The energy expenditure." Olivia looked at the destruction around them, her life's work in shambles, the basement in ruins, and their sanctuary compromised. But as she watched James trying to stabilize Astra while Ren held its mother's hand, she knew they had gained something far more valuable, proof that humanity and their alien guests could work together, combining their strengths to overcome seemingly impossible odds. "They'll be back," Ren said softly, tears falling like tiny stars. "With better shielding. More hunters. Then we'll be ready," Olivia replied, already forming a new plan. "The forest showed us one way to hide you. Now we need to find somewhere they'll never think to look." She picked up her partially damaged computer, pulling up maps of the area. "And I think I know just the place. A bond beyond stars." Deep beneath the earth, in an ancient lava tube system Olivia had discovered years ago during her geological surveys, their small group made their way through the darkness. The only light came from Astra's weakened glow and the soft bioluminescence of cave-dwelling organisms that lined the walls like strange constellations. "The volcanic rock contains natural electromagnetic shielding properties," Olivia explained, helping James support Astra's weight. "And these cave systems go deep, dozens of interconnected chambers that even our most advanced scanning technology has trouble mapping." Ren walked close behind, one hand trailing along the cave wall. Where the child's fingers touched the stone, the natural bioluminescent life forms glowed brighter, responding to its healing energy. "The earth here, it sings differently than above. Older songs." James checked Astra's wound again, his expression grim. The strange, pulsing energy at its edges had spread, creating web-like patterns across her silvery skin. "She needs more than just hiding," he said quietly to Olivia. "That weapon did something to her healing ability. It's like it's fighting against itself." Astra spoke suddenly, her crystalline voice echoing off the cave walls. Ren translated, "Mother says the hunter's weapons are perverted versions of our healing power. They turn life energy against itself." The child's voice trembled. "That's why we ran. They wanted to study her, to make more weapons." Olivia felt a surge of anger. The thought of taking such a pure, regenerative power and twisting it into a weapon of destruction went against everything she believed in as a scientist. "There has to be a way to counter it," she said, her mind racing through possibilities. "If it's based on your healing energy, maybe we can use that same principle to reverse it." They reached a large chamber where thermal vents released warm air from deep within the earth. Olivia had used this place for years to study extremophile organisms, life forms that thrived in seemingly impossible conditions. Now it would serve as their sanctuary. As they helped Astra settle against a smooth rock wall, Ren suddenly stiffened. "Something's coming. Through the stones. I can feel them searching." James immediately moved to the chamber entrance, his military training evident in his stance. "They're adapting faster than we expected. The rock shielding won't fool them for long." Olivia turned to Ren, an idea forming. "You said you can feel the Earth's old songs. Can you show me? Not just tell me, but help me understand the way you perceive energy?" Ren hesitated, then reached out with both hands. When Olivia took them, the world transformed. Suddenly she could sense the complex web of energy flowing through the cave system, the heat from the thermal vents, the subtle electrical charges in the minerals, the living pulse of microscopic organisms in the rock. And deeper still, she felt the ancient rhythm of the earth itself. "This is how you heal," she whispered in awe. "You don't just add energy, you restore natural patterns." Astra stirred, speaking weakly. Ren's grip tightened as they translated. "Mother says this is why she chose Earth. Your world still remembers its original patterns. Not broken like our home." Understanding dawned. "The weapons disrupt natural energy patterns," Olivia said. "But if we could use the Earth's own rhythms, amplify them through your healing ability." She looked at the bioluminescent life forms growing stronger around Ren's presence. "We might be able to reset the disrupted patterns in Astra's wound." James called from the entrance, his voice tense. "Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it fast. Those energy signatures you taught me to recognize? They're getting closer." Olivia squeezed Ren's hands. "I need you to trust me. What I'm suggesting, it's just a theory. But sometimes the most important discoveries come from taking a leap of faith." The child's large eyes met hers, filled with a wisdom far beyond their years. "You've already shown us more kindness than anyone since we fled our world. We trust you." Together, they knelt beside Astra. Olivia placed one hand on the cave floor and the other on Astra's wound. Ren mirrored her position on their mother's other side. The cave's natural energy currents flowed through them, guided by Ren's instinctive understanding and Olivia's scientific insight. As the hunters drew closer, their heavy steps sending vibrations through the cave system, Olivia closed her eyes and focused on the rhythm she had felt through Ren's perception, the pure, unaltered pattern of life itself. In that moment, she understood that true healing wasn't about imposing change, but about remembering the way things were meant to be. The chamber filled with a soft, pulsing light as human determination met alien healing power, both guided by the ancient songs of Earth itself. Whether it would be enough to save Astra and protect them from the approaching hunters remained to be seen, but in that glowing moment, the boundaries between species and worlds seemed to fade away, leaving only the shared desire to protect, to heal, and to survive. The cave chamber hummed with energy as Olivia and Ren channeled the Earth's natural rhythms into Astra's wound. The alien mother's glow flickered like a star fighting against extinction, but gradually, the sickly energy at the edges of her injury began to shift, responding to the planet's ancient patterns. James's voice cut through their concentration. "They're here." The first hunter emerged from the tunnel entrance, its biomechanical form more stable than before, adapted to resist Astra's healing energy. Two more followed, their weapons charged with corrupted life force that made the cave's bioluminescent organisms dim and withdraw. "The specimens will be collected," the lead hunter announced. "Your interference ends now." Olivia didn't break her connection with Astra and Ren. "You don't understand what you're doing," she said, feeling the Earth's energy flow through her. "Their healing power isn't meant to be weaponized. You're disrupting the natural order of life itself." "Natural order is inefficient," the hunter responded. "Power must be controlled. Directed. Weaponized. Like this?" James stepped forward, holding up one of Olivia's research devices, a simple tool designed to measure bioelectric fields in the forest. But he had modified it, using what they had learned about the hunter's energy signatures. The device emitted a pulse that momentarily disrupted the hunter's biomechanical cohesion. In that moment of distraction, something extraordinary happened. The cave's bioluminescent life forms, strengthened by Ren's presence and responding to the pure healing energy flowing through their connection, began to pulse in unison. The rhythm spread through the cave system, resonating with the very minerals in the rock walls. Astra's eyes snapped open, glowing with renewed purpose. She spoke, her voice stronger, and Ren translated, "You have forgotten the true meaning of our gift. Let me remind you." She rose, drawing strength from the Earth's energy that Olivia and Ren had helped her connect with. The healing power that flowed from her now was different, not just her own alien energy, but something harmonized with the fundamental patterns of Earth itself. Where it touched the hunters, their corrupted life force began to realign. The hunters fought against the transformation, their weapons sputtering as the twisted energy within them was drawn back toward its natural state. The lead hunter staggered forward, its form shifting between solid and energy. What are you doing to us?" "Not destroying," Astra said in halting English, having learned from her child's connection with their human protectors. "Healing. Remembering." The hunter's biomechanical shell began to crack, but instead of destruction, pure light shone through. The being inside, so long trapped between machine and life, emerged. It was like Astra and Ren, but its glow had been dimmed, its healing power constrained and corrupted by the weapons it had been forced to become. The other hunters underwent similar transformations, their true forms revealed as members of Astra's species who had been captured and converted into weapons. They fell to their knees, their natural healing energy realigning with the patterns of life. Olivia watched in awe as the cave chamber filled with pure, untainted light. Her years of studying the interconnected nature of forest ecosystems had taught her that everything was linked, that life found ways to balance itself if given the chance. Now she was witnessing that principle on a scale she had never imagined. Ren moved among the transformed hunters, touching each one with gentle hands, helping to stabilize their newly restored healing power. "They were like us," the child said softly. "Lost. Forced to forget." James lowered his modified device, understanding dawning in his eyes. "They weren't just hunting you. They were trapped." Astra nodded, her glow now strong and steady. "Our people were divided. Some chose to use our gift for power. They took others, changed them." She looked at Olivia with profound gratitude. "But Earth's patterns are strong. Ancient. They helped us remember truth. What will you do now?" Olivia asked, looking at the small group of restored healers. "There are more," one of the transformed hunters said, their voice musical like Astra's. "Others trapped. Changed. They will keep coming. Then we'll be ready," Olivia said firmly. "This cave system spans hundreds of miles. We can create a sanctuary, a place where your people can heal and remember who they truly are." She looked at her research equipment, already thinking of modifications. "Earth's natural energy patterns can help protect you, and my work can help hide your presence." James stepped forward. "You'll need more help. I know people, scientists, doctors, people who want to protect, not exploit. We can create a network, keep you safe while you help others heal." Ren took Olivia's hand, their small fingers intertwining with hers. "You saved us. Not just from hunters, but from losing hope." The child's glow pulsed in harmony with the cave's bioluminescence. "Will you teach us about Earth's patterns? Help us understand?" Olivia felt tears in her eyes as she squeezed Ren's hand. "We'll learn together. Your healing power, combined with our understanding of Earth's natural systems, we can do so much good." Astra moved to the cave entrance, looking up through a crack in the rock toward the stars. "Our people once healed worlds," she said softly. "Perhaps, together, we can remember how." The cave glowed with combined light, alien healing energy and Earth's ancient bioluminescence creating patterns of impossible beauty. As Olivia watched her unlikely family, she knew that her life's work had led her to something far greater than she had ever imagined. In protecting these remarkable beings, she had helped forge a bridge between worlds, proving that the truest power lay not in weapons or control, but in the simple, profound act of healing together.